What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, and this video today is taking me a long time to make, but I am doing a Pendulum edition. This is kind of such a big throwback for me. This was kind of the first deck that I ever used in Yu-Gi-Oh! Outside of Dark Magician. If you can imagine, that's the next deck that you would go to if you're new to the game. It's super fun. Obviously, with that Electromite, it's just kind of tough, but the idea of it used to be try to get to Electromite before you Pendulum Summon. Now it's just Christian Needle Fiber. Not as good, but still can end in some good stuff. And I'll show you kind of what all of the practice has led me to. This is kind of the best board I'll show you of the day, and one good tech card that you maybe have not used in your Pendulum decks just quite yet. So many consistency cards, lots of duplicates, so Allure is always good, Upstart Goblin, Into the Void, Pot of Duality, all those kinds of cards help you out. Just Pendulum Summoning still insane, in case you guys don't know. Probably go into an 8 here. That can help me go into a Cross Sheep. That'll help me summon out Vortex. And there's my tech card, Shen Shen. It's very generic, and it's only a rank 9. So why not have a little bit more disruption? Celine can bring back anything from the graveyard. I think I do Dragon Pit. And then I go into an Appaloosa. 2 negate Appaloosa, spell negate, everything's banished from the field, and an Omni negate. I don't think you can be too upset about that at all. It tries to go into Black Rose Dragon. Of course, I'm going to negate that and everything. You know, it doesn't have any graveyard resources. I tried using Dimension Shifter for a while in this Pendulum deck, but unfortunately, it doesn't. I thought, because it says everything that's supposed to go to the graveyard, I thought because they went to the face of extra deck, but no, they do get banished as well. And this is a little bit of overkill, of course, but I think I was like a little close or off on damage, and this was just kind of the easiest way for me to go down that path to finish the game. Alright, so now we can just go through all the regular ones. I make a lot of mistakes here, so I'm going to try to point them out the best that I can. Ordering and everything you do in Pendulums has like a deep meaning and purpose, which is nuts. Like every time you search, you can't just think about like the level that you need. You need to think about the scale. And you got to think about what scales you're putting in what order if you're going second. It's it's kind of funny, right? Because I think Pendulums have the moniker of like anybody who's brain dead can play it, and I think that may have been true back in the day when you could just Pendulum summon and there was no kind of rules about the extra deck. But now, I mean, it's pretty tough. There's so many different lines of play. It's almost just too open. You know, he even sends back my Needle Fiber, which is kind of bad a lot of the times, but I already have my scales and I already have an open zone. I think there was already, yeah, there was only one on my extra deck anyway, so basically it got nothing out of it. Time Gazer's good because it's a level 3. And you can also summon it off a Chronograph. It's a good play starter. For a while I was running the Mythical Beast package, but I'm not running that anymore. It doesn't really help me. And just look at that. I mean, through all that disruption he had, which was like bouncing and negates, I just plowed through it. This is Time Lords. I think I put up a decent board here as well. So many different ways to get to the same board, and you'll find that. And the best, I don't know, the best piece of advice I can have if you're new to Pendulums is just test hand, test hand, test hand over and over again. Because Pendulum has some just nuts cards. Like Pendulum Call protects your Pendulum zones and just gives you any 2 Pendulums from the Magician archetype. It doesn't get much better than that. Red Rose is just a really good kind of mini engine. The 2-card engine is really all it is. And they're not bricky either, because Needle Fiber can summon from the hand or deck, and so can Red Rose. Appaloosa can come down, and I can probably convert this into a Savage. 2 Omni Negates, and I think 3 Monster Negates. Pretty good board in my opinion. And he didn't have anything to go up against it. Played a lot of Fur Hires recently for some reason. He's kind of got an awkward hand. He's got this monster. He has the Forbidden Droplets, but Forbidden Droplets can be responded to as long as you don't send the right thing. So he might be in a difficult spot here. We'll see. Oath and Dragon Pit are always going to be your ideal kind of things to put in the Pendulum zone. And there's different ways to do that, right? Wisdom Eye is probably one of your best bets. On top of, you know, just being able to draw a bunch of times during your turn because of just how many spells you run to go deep into your deck. You always want your normal summon to be your tuner. So that's just keep that in mind. If you guys don't know like basically what I'm doing at all, and you know some of this can probably be a little confusing because these aren't the same combos as yesterday, but I think if you watch those ones, my step-by-step tutorial, you'll get a pretty decent idea of what this is all about. And again, yeah, he didn't discard a monster, so I am able to negate that, and he's just negged too hard now to recover from. More for hire stuff. Always Penge Call and Supreme King Dark Worm is just super great. And the thing about Pendulum summoning, again, which is just so nuts, is like these cards look kind of like bricks in your hand, and I think this is where I make my first major mistake. Yeah, why? What are you doing? I can Pendulum summon these. This is a scale 0. So just remember that you always be able to use that effect, because now I'm missing a tuner, which kind of hurt my plays without a doubt. This is a really not a good end board either. 3 monster negates plus an omni negate. It's not terrible, but of course, I mean, I would have a much better end board if I'd taken the more clear line of play. He sniped himself, so that kind of hurts him. He's not going to be able to go into more of his for hire stuff. He can't even attack over the Appaloosa. It only has 500 attack, unfortunately for him. I have the Pendulum Call, and I can just grab another Harmonizing. Pen Summon 2, get the Harmonizing back. I already have all these zones, 2 for Appaloosa, which is really nice. And now my advantage is starting to roll over here. I'm getting more negates every single turn. I don't have Oath, so I can't like get this back in my hand anytime soon, but that's alright. Goes ahead and negs 2. Summons back a for hire from the graveyard. That doesn't really matter to me at all. I can still negate the monster effects. So I might as well keep this Omni negate, right? Because you just never know what that last card is. But yeah, he doesn't have anything to get past it. Looks like he has a couple of interruptions here. Photon Current. It's a little bit of a... I don't know if I'd play that card in Galaxy Eyes. I know they're hurting right now because of Union Carrier, but still. Again, like I told you, I was running that Mythical Beast package. It's actually just a free summon, but it's kind of bricky, and also the levels are a little awkward. Well, I guess I can kind of work with Shen Shen, who knows. It's more of a personal preference, I suppose. I'd rather have the Wisdom Eye, so I can fix my scales, rather than have I already have so many free normals or special summons, like the Dark Worm and the Abyss Actor one. I go ahead and summon the access code talker. That way I can pop cards and you can't respond to them. I can't wait till this card gets a reprint. It's going to be so fun. And I clear his board, and yeah, that would have been a game. Played a lot of Glad Beast recently as well. Yeah, there's the Dimension Shifter. Can't use it, but discard the Dark Worm. I'm off on a good start already. I don't control any cards, so I can go ahead and use the Time Gazer. And because I'm going to be putting another Magician in there, so this goes back to a scale 8. Now I've accomplished what I'm looking out for, which is to summon Needle Fiber without having to use my Pendulum Summon, so I can make it even larger. And you can Pendulum Summon the Dimensional Shift or the Dimension Shifter, which is kind of funny in my opinion. Celine can bring back. Let's see what I end up here. The Tuning Magician. Maybe I can use it for a Synchro Summon. I can go into an Appaloosa. I can go into a Borreload Savage. And I kind of just have this one floating here. Probably should have used it for the Appaloosa. Just something I didn't look forward to. Another mistake, you know. Just make sure you take your time when you're thinking about this stuff. Call by the Grave doesn't really, you know, affect me. I think he's just trying to bait it out. I think he has another Pot of Desire. He's going to banish the rest of his deck. And I'm not going to let him draw two, simply because I know if he's activating it twice, it means he doesn't have anything in his hand that he needs to make his plays. At least that's the way I interpret it. Looks like I could go first here. This may have been a match, and I may have lost game 2, more than likely. Upstart Goblin. I did have the free special summon. That's okay. It's the same difference whether I use the effect or not. Even if you do Pendulum Summon for Halley Fibrax, it's normally okay. It's not the biggest deal in the world. I may end up going into the Odd-Eyes Vortex, Appaloosa plus the Vortex. Again, just decent, I suppose. It's going to go ahead and get a search. I'm just kind of waiting for him to try to link summon using one of like Fractal, or whatever it's called. Bounces over it, so now I only have just this one negate. I still have it, so I'm waiting on it. Rescue Rabbit, I'm not going to let him special summon 2 level 4 normal monsters, especially in this archetype where they turn into fusion monsters. That kind of would have been the end of the duel. Nice top deck of Duelist Alliance. I can throw the Tuning Magician, especially because it can special summon itself from the graveyard. And now I have a bunch of cards I can just pen summon. This can search from the deck. I just needed a rank 4 at that point, right? I don't think I have any Synchro 5, so I don't think I should have... Because this gets banished when it leaves the field. I'm not just going to have it laying out there, you know. He tries to search, I think, again. I'm not going to let that happen. He adds a Glad Beast monster. He's going to try to use the effect of battle and then bounce itself back to the deck to replace itself. I'm going to negate that as well, because I think he's already used his normal summon. He's probably hurting pretty bad. Into the void. Nah, but I can grab the oath. I can grab the harmonizing back again, and the loop just begins. Because I think I already have a wisdom in there as well, which is nice. Here is a mirror match, although he's using Magispectors and I'm using Pendulum Magicians. I'm pretty sure this is super cheap. I can't imagine any of these cards are expensive outside of like Access Goat Talker. But the actual main deck is probably... I already have most of the cards because I used it, but I don't remember when I was purchasing these that I ever paid much for anything. The only thing that was expensive for a while was the Mythical Beast package, and that's not even in my main anymore. Cross Sheep can go into an Odd-Eyes Vortex. That triggers to bring back the Double Iris. I can go back into an Phaedon Dragster now, and to an Appaloosa. 3 negates, Omni negate, and spell. Can't be too upset about that if you're a combo deck, or a casual combo deck, if you will. I'm trying to prevent him from completing his scales. It's kind of my main objective. And he tries to go again, because how many times like have I just know as me as a Pendulum player, I never usually have 2 versions of the scale that I need at one time without searching them. And I know he hasn't done that. The Appaloosa is going to go away, which is kind of rough. Off the top, I get a Duelist Alliance, which kind of seems good, but it's really not, because I can't use Pendulum Call. I don't have anything to discard. I keep this in defense position, just so I can make sure I use that negate, or I have a better chance of doing so. I'm not going to let him add any Magispectors. It doesn't get destroyed, but that's okay. I was just want to negate the search. Then he tries to pop it to summon a monster from the deck. That triggers Phaedon Dragster, and there we go. I would have been able to, whatever was off the top, it like literally doesn't matter. Would have been able to get a couple searches. Here it is, a match or a game against Sky Strikers. This is against 2 disruptions. We'll see where he uses them. Dark Worm is going to special summon itself to give me a scale. Not a bad effect veiler target, in my opinion. Allure is going to help me get a little deeper here. I get a Duelist Alliance, so it's pretty much, you know, everything I could possibly need. Get rid of the Dragon Shrine. I don't need that anymore. Normal summon there. Go on to the Christian Needle Fiber. Uses the second effect veiler there, but I can still Pendulum summon here. And I can grab a 3 from the deck, and that goes into Odd-Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. Go into my rank 7, Cross Sheep, special summon the Vortex. Vortex brings back the Tuning Magician, and those can be used for an Appaloosa, so I guess it could have been anything. But through 2 solid pieces of negation, I was able to put up quite a bit. I did have another Kaiju, so he had so many of his cards, and looks like off the top he's going to get a Rose, but I do still have this like really nice Omni negate that's so easy to go into. Tries to bait me out with the Shark Cannon, and I'm not going to fall for that. I negate the Hayate effect, and since it wasn't a Ray, it's not going to special summon itself back. He has no play starters, and who knows what I would have gotten. I guess Dimension Shifter, but this would have been lethal anyways. I didn't need a summon. And this is the last one. I think I also just put up something pretty good as I going first board. Dragon Shrine, that can get me the Dark Worm. Dark Worm summon itself. Get the Gate 0. Set it. Duelist Alliance. Pendulum Call. It's all so good. All the pieces have aligned. When you're Pendulum summoning this much, again, you can't pout too much about it. Because you can still go into the Christian Halley Fibrax, go into a Red Rose, which is going to replace itself. So now all my zones are just kind of lining up. Can overlay those 2, go into a 3 negate Appaloosa, into a Vortex, and an Abyss Dweller, because I know he's playing, at this point I knew he was playing Time Lords, and there's that one that goes into the graveyard, it can banish itself. I want to make sure I can use that effect. I don't want him to draw 2 to potentially get into an out for this board, because Appaloosa is pretty much the most important card against this matchup. One of the Time Lords can't be negated, I think, but that's okay. I can't quite attack, but I can start negating his trap card effects, And the next turn I'll probably go into an access code talker. As long as I can prevent him from getting into these, right? Because they all shuffle each other back into the deck. See you later. Foolish Burial. There you go. He can't use this effect, the Time Maiden. I knew he was going to go for it. Tuning Magician, I can just go ahead and normal summon that. Shift all these into a Selene. I have so many spells at this point, right? Can go into an access code talker. Start popping his trap cards. I think this has one protection, but I think I have another pop, or at this point, I've gone so deep into his life points that it doesn't even matter. He's not even going to have enough cards for hand destruction, but he does get one of his Time Lords off the top, and he does get another Search. So he's kind of digging himself back into the grave, although this one just shuffles my graveyard back, which is kind of good for me to get a fresh start on my deck. The one I have to negate is this one. It's kind of... let's see if this does. Yeah, it inflicts damage, so that would have been really bad. And Abyss Actor, Curtain Raiser, a scale 7 is pretty decent in this deck, for sure. Both these are going to get shuffled back. That's a Waking of the Dragons. And that's, you know, even if I did use the effective access code talker, which I wouldn't, I don't think Waking the Dragons would trigger because you can't respond to it. But yeah, that's a pretty long look at Pendulum Magician archetype. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.